The IMAX Prologue for the Odyssey has been screened in theatres in front of 70mm screenings of both Sinners and One Battle After Another, and after seeing it in the 6 minutes of footage included, I think it's an extraordinary look at what we can expect from Christopher Nolan's new film. The footage itself promises a visceral, epic, intense cinematic experience, showcasing both the Siege of Troy and a montage of other footage, including our first glimpse of the Cyclops Polyphemus. This prologue is only available in theatres and will not be released online, so I won't be showing any of the footage in this breakdown due to copyright. But in the video, I will do my best to support what I say with images that reflect what was seen in the prologue. And when the full official trailer releases online, which is due to come out next week with Avatar 3, I will include footage and screenshots for my video on that trailer. Before I get into my breakdown of the IMAX Prologue though, if you want to keep up to date on any of my content surrounding Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey film, then don't forget to support this upload by giving it a like rating and subscribing to the channel. But without further ado, let's dive into the IMAX Prologue for Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. So the IMAX Prologue has been shown early in front of 70mm screenings of both Sinners and One Battle After Another. Nolan traditionally releases his prologues or a collection of footage for his films around this time, and The Odyssey is no exception. And it's a genuinely stunning look at the film that follows Matt Damon's Odysseus during the Siege of Troy. It includes a lot of intense framing, shots of the iconic Trojan horse, and at the very end, we also get a montage of other shots, which includes our first look at the Cyclops Polyphemus. Coming to my breakdown of the IMAX Prologue, which is 6 minutes long, an impressive amount of visuals and atmosphere is packed into this footage. And the opening of it has Jon Bernthal's Menelaus recounting events to Tom Holland's Telemachus. For those who don't know, Menelaus is the king of Sparta and the husband of Helen, whose abduction sparked the Trojan War. When Telemachus visits him early in the Odyssey, Menelaus is portrayed as a gracious and wealthy host who has returned home after many different wanderings of his own. He offers Telemachus guidance about Odysseus' fate and expresses deep respect and admiration for Odysseus' courage and intelligence. Through Menelaus in the Odyssey, Homer shows the lingering impact of the Trojan War on its survivors and highlights themes of loyalty, hospitality, and the enduring bonds between warriors. And when it comes to Telemachus, he is the son of Matt Damon's Odysseus and Anne Hathaway's Penelope. His journey forms a parallel story to his father's, and at the start of the Odyssey, he is a young man uncertain of his place, overwhelmed by the suitors who overrun his home while Odysseus is away. Encouraged by Athena, Telemachus sets out to learn news of his father and gradually grows in confidence, leadership, and maturity. His development from a hesitant youth into someone capable of standing beside Odysseus in reclaiming their household is one of the poem's central coming-of-age arcs. At the start of the Odyssey prologue, Menelaus gives Telemachus a simple but loaded question. He asks him, "You hear the story of the horse?" And from there, the scene shifts directly to the famous image of the Trojan horse being dragged into the city of Troy, tipped on its side as teams of men strain to pull it forward over a line of wooden logs. Hidden within the hollow structures are the Greek soldiers, and this moment gives viewers their first look at Matt Damon as Odysseus and Jon Bernthal's Menelaus when he was a part of that siege. Tension spikes in the footage when a Trojan sentry climbs atop of the massive construct and drives a spear through the wood to test whether it's safe. The strike pierces one of the concealed warriors, and Odysseus must put his hand over the wounded man's mouth to muffle his scream. Unaware of how narrowly they came to discovery, the Trojans continue hauling the horse through the gates and finally position it before a temple inside the city walls. And this sets the stage for all the chaos that follows inside. Once night falls, the hidden Greek soldiers slip out of the wooden horse by pushing open an escape panel built into its underside. Once they are outside, Odysseus and his men immediately dispatch the unsuspecting guards stationed nearby. Something I noticed was that the contrast in costume design here is very striking, as the Trojan soldiers are outfitted in stark white uniforms and identical masks that erase any hint of individuality, where Odysseus and his men wear dark tactical armour suited for silent movement and covert assault. Moving like shadows, the Greek cut down Troy's slumbering defenders with swift, ruthless efficiency as they advance towards the gates. Odysseus leads the operation with determination, carving a path through the night so he can unbar the city's entrance and signal the full-scale attack. Although the Trojans eventually manage to raise an alarm, their response comes too late, as Odysseus and his men have already succeeded in opening the gates, clearing the way for the final siege to begin. During this, there is a quick shot of what looks to be Yuri Kolokolkinov, who played Volkov in Tenet, and as one of Odysseus's men, he shouts "come on," urging the gates to be opened. The gates do then open, and the rest of the Greek army starts pouring in. Following this, we get an aura-farming moment with Benny Safdie as Agamemnon, as he walks in behind the group of men, looking tough in his shiny armour. Agamemnon appears not as an active character, but as a powerful cautionary figure whose story is retold several times. In the Odyssey, he was the king of Mycenae and the leader of the Greek forces in the Trojan War. After that war, he has quite the tragic fate, and there are a few other eventful things that happen to him during the events of the Odyssey story. I must say, he looks great in his armour during the prologue, and I can't wait to see more from him in the film. But we then end this Troy sequence on a shot of Odysseus himself donning his Greek helmet and preparing to join the battle that now rages throughout the city. After that shot, it eventually comes back to Menelaus and Telemachus, and after recounting the fall of Troy, Menelaus ends the footage by saying to him, "Well, you know the rest." This ends the Siege of Troy scene, but it's not all we get, as the montage ends with a few other incredible looking shots. There is a shot of an army of men in tough armour, another shot of what looks to be a sea fight without seeing what the creature they are fighting is, a shot of a statue being decapitated, which looks to be the Palladium, and then a terrifying look at the Cyclops. It's a really fearsome shot of the Cyclops coming out of shadows at the end, and while we don't see too much of it, it's still a great first tease of the animatronic work that Nolan appears to be doing with the creatures in his film. So what were my thoughts on all the footage from the prologue? Well, the legendary wooden horse drawn up to the gates of Troy, the tense moments of deception and betrayal, and a single ominous shot of the Cyclops are a potent reminder that this will not just be a war epic, but a mythic, larger-than-life journey. In the 6 minutes of footage, Nolan gives us more than just spectacle though, as he establishes the core tone. The visual scale, the weight of the Trojan War's aftermath, and the abrupt shift from human war to impending mythological danger of creatures like the Cyclops tell us clearly that this story won't shy away from the fantastical horror and wonder of the original myth. What feels especially impressive is how this glimpse manages to balance both the gritty brutality of conflict and the looming dread of the uncanny, suggesting that the full film may merge historical epic and mythological horror into a seamless immersive experience. The choice to debut the prologue only in IMAX 70mm film, the format in which the entire piece was shot in, is itself a stunning visual statement, suggesting a cinematic event meant to be felt in the theatre. The format has built Nolan an aura of prestige, reinforcing the idea that this isn't a film to binge or stream, but to experience, with the weight, the sound, and the frame all designed for maximum immersive impact. And that's exactly what the prologue achieves. The IMAX Prologue immediately immerses you in the immense world that Nolan has crafted. What begins with a haunting rhetorical hook with Bernthald's line quickly places you amid the aftermath of the Trojan War. The sheer scale of the visuals that follow hit hard, whether it's the Trojan horse itself that looms impossibly large as it's dragged into the city, or the sound of wood and muscle straining and echoing in the IMAX format. The moment when a Trojan soldier jabs his spear into the hollow of the horse, instantly injuring one of Odysseus' hidden men, is jarringly visceral, and Nolan doesn't shy away from the gritty physical reality of this mythical moment. The decision to have Odysseus clamp a hand over the wounded man's mouth to prevent a cry is both clever and chilling. It reminded me a lot of the moment from Dunkirk, where the group of soldiers were hiding in the boat and the Germans were outside using it as target practice. Also, visually and thematically, the contrast between the faceless, uniformly white-clad Trojans and the darkly armoured, purposeful Greeks is striking, immediately establishing the tension of infiltration and deception. When the Greeks emerge from the belly of the horse and slaughter the unsuspecting guards, the sequence unfolds with a brisk, ruthless precision that speaks to Nolan's mastery of rhythm and spatial storytelling. The prologue teases the great action that we will see in Nolan's epic, suggesting that it will be brutal, immersive, and awe-inspiring to look at on the big screen. And the later teases we get of moments beyond Troy, whether it's the luminous glimpses of men battling the sea and a sudden terrifying massive cyclops that looms over the frame, further linger in your mind long after the prologue ends. It gives us a tantalizing hint of the emotional and mythic breadth awaiting in the full film. Seeing this in 70mm IMAX made the scale and detail feel monumental, with the format intensifying both the grandeur of the sets and the intimacy of the brief performances. Furthermore, Ludwig Göransson's music doesn't just accompany these visuals because it propels them, becoming as essential to the experience as the cinematography and the sound design. From the very first notes, the score sets a tone that feels ancient yet visceral, grounding the mythic scale of the Trojan War in something elemental and almost primeval. The score sounds thunderous, intense, and career-defining for Göransson, bringing a sense of sheer kinetic force. And when all the action kicks in and the Greeks pour out into the night, the score surges like a force of nature, with percussive drives and sweeping motifs, making everything feel large. It all helps to plant you in its world and in that moment. For fans of epic cinema and mythic storytelling, the prologue is a thrilling, evocative taste of what's to come, all while standing alone as a powerful piece of cinematic theatre. So overall, I think the prologue works brilliantly as a promise to the audience. It doesn't reveal too much, we don't know exactly how Nolan will specifically frame the story, or even how faithful to the source material the adaptation will be. But what it does promise is scale, ambition, and total immersion. It reignites the kind of excitement that felt real when big films were events, and reasserts that cinematic experiences can still feel as grand and as visceral as ever. If the rest of the Odyssey lives up to these first 6 minutes, we might be in for one of Nolan's most immersive epics yet. But that was my video discussing my thoughts and breaking down the IMAX prologue for Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. Overall, the footage gave us an epic look at Nolan's film, displaying both grand cinematic images and tense moments from the Siege of Troy. It looks like it's going to be another well-made Nolan film with superb performances, stunning visuals, and an apocalyptic-sounding score from Ludwig Göransson. I can't wait to see more footage from the film, and we will indeed be getting that soon with the full-length trailer. But if you've seen the IMAX prologue for The Odyssey in theatres, let me know down below in the comments section what you thought of this new look at the film, alongside whether it gets you even more excited for Christopher Nolan's latest project. For much more videos and news on Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey film, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like rating and follow me on social media via the links in the description. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.